व्रजजानारञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयो मुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतं सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणा कीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति शुहुसताम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
So today's verse is Savai Manah Krishna Padara Vindayor. I will repeat it. I will recite it. Please repeat after me.
Can you just pull up to see the verse number?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. सवै मनः कृष्ण पदारविन्दयोर्
सवै मन कृष्ण पदारविन्दयोः
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
करो हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
करो हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
श्रुतिं च करच्युतसत्कतोदये
श्रुतिं चक्रच्युतां सत्कथयोत्थिते
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशो
मुकुन्दलिङ्गाय दर्शने दर्शो
तद्भृत्य गात्र स्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
तद्वृत्य गात्र स्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
गृहाणां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
गृह्णानां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
कृत्यं श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
पादौ हरे क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
पादो हरे क्षेत्रपदानुस्पर्शने
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने
कामांश्च दास्येन तु कामकामया
कामांश्च दास्येन तु कामकामया
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयारतिः
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयारति
स वै मनः कृष्णपदारविन्दयोर्
कृष्णपदारविन्दयो
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
भाषांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
करौ हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
करोर्हरे मन्दिरजनादिषु
स्तुतिं च कराच्युत सत्कथोदये
श्रुतिं चक्रच्युता सत्कथोदये
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशौ
मुकुन्दलिङ्गायन दर्शने दर्शनम्
तद्वृत्य गात्र स्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
तद्वृत्य गात्र स्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
गृहाणां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
गृह्णां च तत्पदा सरोजसौरभे
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
पादौ हरेर्क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
पादो हरे क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
शिरो ऋषिकेशपादाभिवन्दने
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदानुवन्दने
कामांश्च दास्येन तु कामकामया
कामांश्च दास्येन तु कामकामया
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयरतिः
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयरति
स वै मनः कृष्णपदारविन्दयोर्
तवे मना कृष्णपदारविन्दयो
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
करौ हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
करो हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
श्रुतिं च कराच्युत सत्कतोदये
श्रुतिं चक्रच्युता सत्कथोदये
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशौ
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशो
तद्वृत्य गात्र स्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
तद्वृत्य गात्रस्पर्शेऽङ्गसङ्गमम्
गृह्णां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
गृह्णां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते
पादौ हरेर्क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
पादो हरे क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदानुवन्दने
कामांश्च दास्येन तु कामकाम्यया
कामांश्च दास्येन कामकाम्यया
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयरतिः
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयारति.
Okay, anybody can repeat, but how we're going to do is one devotee can do the first one, then the other devotee can do the second one, then the other devotee can do the third one because it's too long. 3 verses are there. Yes, ma'am.
सवै मना कृष्ण पदारविन्दयो
सवै मनः कृष्णपदारविन्दयो
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
वाचांसि वैकुण्ठगुणानुवर्णने
करो हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
करो हरेर्मन्दिरमार्जनादिषु
श्रुतिं चक्रचित सत्कथोदये
श्रुतिं चकराच्युतसत्कथोदये
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशौ
मुकुन्दलिङ्गालय दर्शने दृशौ
तद्भृत्य गात्र स्पर्शङ्गसङ्गमाम्
स्पर्शेङ्गसङ्गमम्
घ्राणां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
घ्राणं च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारशनां तदर्पिते
श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनां तदर्पिते
आदौ हरेर्क्षेत्रपदुना सपर्णे
पादौ हरेर्क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने
शिरो ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने
कामां च दासेन तु कामकाम्यया
कामां च दास्येन तु कामकाम्यया
यतोत्मत्ता श्लोकजनश्रयारति
यतोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रयारतिः. Anybody else wants to recite the verse? Okay, we will go for the word to word meaning. Saha,
सः
he,
हि
Ambarish, Maharaj Ambarisha.
महाराज अम्बरीश
Why, indeed.
Indeed.
indeed
Mana, his mind.
mana mind
Krishna Pada Aravindayo.
Krishna pada arvindayo
Fixed upon the 2 lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
fixed upon the 2 lotus feet of Lord Krishna
Vachansi, his words.
vachamsi
Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane.
vaikuntha gunanu anuvarna
Describing the glories of Krishna.
describing the glories of Krishna
Karau, his 2 hands.
Karo, his 2 hands
Harer Mandira Marjanadishu.
Hare
In activities like cleansing the temple of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
in activities like cleansing the temple of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Shrutim, his ear.
Shrutim, his ear.
Chakra, engaged.
Chakra,
engaged.
Chakara.
Chakara, engaged.
Chakara engaged.
Achyuta of or about Krishna, who never falls down.
Of or about Krishna who never falls down.
Tat Katodaye,
Satkata.
In
in hearing the transcendental narrations.
hearing the transcendental narrations.
Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane,
Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane.
in seeing the deity and temples of the holy dhams of Mukunda.
In
In
seeing
seeing the deity and temples and holy dham of Mukunda.
Drishav, his two eyes.
Drisha,
Drisha,
his two eyes.
Tadbritya, of the servants of Krishna.
Tat Vritya, of the servants of Krishna.
Gatra Sparshe, in touching the bodies.
Gatra Sparsha, in touching the body.
Anga Sangamam, contact of his body.
Anga Sangamam, contact of his body.
Granamcha, the and his senses of smell.
Grahana and his
Cha,
sense
and his sense of smell.
Tatpada, of his lotus feet.
Tat Pada, of his feet.
Saroja, of the lotus flower.
Saroja, of the lotus flower.
Saurabhe, in smelling the fragrance.
Saurabh, in smell of fragrance.
Srimat Tulasya, of the tulasi leaves.
Srimad Tulasya, of Tulasi leaves.
Rasanam, his tongue.
Rashanam, his tongue.
Tadarpite, in the prasada offered to the Lord.
Tat Arpite, in the prasad offered to the Lord.
Adav, his two legs.
Pada,
Hare, of the personality of Godhead.
Hare, of the personality of
God.
Kshetra, holy places like the temple of Vrindavan and Dwarka.
Kshetra.
Kshetra, holy places like the temple or Vrindavan and Dwarka.
Pada Anusarpane, walking to those places.
Pada Anusarpane, walking to those places.
Shira, the head.
Shira, the head.
Rishikesha, of Krishna, the master of the senses.
Rishikesha, of Krishna, the master of the senses.
Padabhivandane, in offering obeisances to the lotus feet.
Pada Abhivardhane, in offering obeisance to the lotus feet.
Kamacha, and his desires.
Kamamcha,
Kamamcha,
desires.
Kamamcha, and his desires.
Kamancha,
Dasye,
Dashi,
in being engaged as a servant.
in being engaged as a servant.
Not.
Not
Two, indeed.
to
Kama Kamyaya,
Kama
Kamya,
with a desire for sense gratification.
with a desire for sense gratification.
Yatha, as.
Yatha,
Uttama Shloka Janashraya.
Uttama Shloka Janashraya.
If one takes shelter of a devotee such as Prahlad.
If one takes shelter of a devotee such as Prahlad.
Ratihi, attachment.
Ratihi, attachment.
Translation. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. His words are describing the glories of the Lord. His hands are cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasi offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasada. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord. His head is bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord, 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service, in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely freed from all material desires. Can anybody wants to read the purport?
Mataji, can I read the purport?
Yes, Chaitanya, please go ahead.
In Bhagavad Gita 7.1, the Lord recommends May Ashakta Manaparta Yogam Yunnan Manashraya. This indicates one must execute devotional service under the guidance of a devotee or directly under the guidance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not possible, however, to train oneself without guidance from the spiritual master. Therefore, according to the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, the first business of a devotee is to accept a bona fide spiritual master who can train him to engage his various senses in rendering transcendental service to the Lord. The Lord also says in Bhagavad Gita 7.1, Asam Shayam Samagramam Yata Jidnasi Tachurunu. In other words, if one wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in completeness, one must follow the prescriptions given by Krishna by following in the footsteps of Maharaj Ambarish. It is said, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means to engage in the service of their masters of the senses. Krishna, who is called Rishikesha or Achyuta. These words are used in the verses Achyuta Satkato Daye Rishikesha Padavi Bandane. The words Achyuta and Rishikesha are also used in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha, spoken directly by Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is also Krishna Katha, because everything described in the Bhagavatam is in relationship with Krishna.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चादेशधारिणे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Share my screen. क्या है? Sorry, just give me 1 second. Okay, so today we're going to, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so today we're going to speak, we're going to talk about the glories of Maharaj Ambarish. So, and the teachings, I mean, like what we can learn from his life. So, who is Maharaj Ambarish? Ambarish Maharaj, he is son of Nabhaga. So, who is Nabhaga? Nabhaga is son of Vaivaswata Manu. My Vaivaswata Manu's son is Nabhaga, and Nabhaga had 4 sons. Maharaj Nabhaga had 4 sons, and in 4 sons, the last son was named Nabhaga again. So there are 2 Nabhagas in the story. So don't get confused. I will mention the first Nabhaga, the son of Vaivaswata Manu, as Father Nabhaga. And the other Nabhaga is the son of this Nabhaga. So Sukdev Goswami, while telling the story of Nabhaga, he starts in this way. He starts like he'll start by saying that Nabhaga went to Gurukula and he did all the scriptural studies and everything. And he didn't come back for a long time. Like previously, when all the students used to go for Gurukula, they used to take their own sweet time to finish their all studies, and then sometimes they don't want to come back home. They may take sannyas, or they're not interested in the grihastha, like that. So they usually, the students who finished their Gurukula studies, they return back home and take up their prescribed duties. And if they don't come back for a couple of years, they will think they have taken sannyas or anything. The family members would think like that. So the same thing happened here with Nabhaga, that Nabhaga didn't return back from Gurukula. And so the 3 brothers of Father Nabhaga, the siblings of Nabhaga, what they did was they shared the property of Father Nabhaga, and they did leave a share. Once after a few years, Nabhaga came back to his family, and he asked for his share of the property. Then cleverly, what the brothers, the siblings, told him that we kept a share of your property as our father. So taking care of our father is your share of the property. Then Nabhaga was very happy, and he said, "Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to serve my father. These many years I was not able to serve him." And he took his father, and he was taking care of him. And he told his father that I got you as a part of, as a share of my property. Then Father Nabhaga said, "You've been fooled by your brothers." And he didn't tell him to fight with them or ask for his property or anything. He just told, "Come with me." And he took him to a sacrificial arena where Brahmanas were performing a fire sacrifice, a yajna. And there has been they have failed a couple of times while doing the sacrificial yajna, because they were reciting 2 syllables wrong on the 6th day of the yajna. So Father Nabhaga told Nabhaga that you correct them, because you are scripturally educated, you have a lot of knowledge. So tell them that this is the mistake you're doing. On the 6th day, you're pronouncing 2 of the syllables wrong. And the Nabhaga was quite a gentleman. He was like very nice, and he thought that how will I suggest the Brahmanas who are very well versed in Vedas and everything. But then his father said that that's all right, you can go and correct them, that's fine. And with that assurance, he went and he sat in a different spot, like not in front of all the yajna and everything. And when the 6th day, the Brahmanas started to recite, where they were supposed to make the mistake, Nabhaga goes and corrects them. He says that you are speaking the 2 syllables wrong. And then the Brahmanas were very happy, because they were failing quite often. And then once they corrected their mistake, the fire sacrifice was successful. Their fire sacrifice is successful, and then they were very happy. And in those days, the fire sacrifices were opulent, like they had the sacrificial arena itself, or the yajna kunda was itself made out of gold, and the seating arrangement for all the brahmanas and everything, that one also was the seats were also made out of gold, and all the paraphernalia they used, everything was gold. So Nabaga got a lot of wealth, like pure 24 karat gold. All the things there, the paraphernalia, the seats of the brahmanas, the yajna kunda, everything was gold. So he got a lot of wealth. Not only those, there were a lot of other things too. And then Nabaga was happy, and then he told his father that I got all these things, and then his father was also happy. And then when he was collecting, Nabaga was collecting all the paraphernalia and everything which was left on the sacrificial arena. Then one person comes there, and Sukdev Goswami explains, and he uses one adjective. He says, look, the one who looks like Krishna, who is like dark complexion and tall. He explains him very nicely. And then that is Lord Shiva. He's explaining about Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva comes there and he asks that this is my share, you can't take it. And Nabaga he didn't feel upset, but then he went and told his father that there is Lord Shiva who came and he wants to take away all the rest of the paraphernalia and everything from the sacrificial arena. And then his father says, Nabaga's father says that is right. You have to listen to him and you have to give away all the things which were there on the sacrificial arena. And then Nabaga didn't complain. He didn't say anything. He just simply gave away everything to Lord Shiva. And only then Lord Shiva will reveal his actual form. Previously, Nabaga didn't know that it was Lord Shiva. And then pleased with his pure mind, or like his obedience towards his father and everything, Lord Shiva not only gives him away all the sacrificial offerings there, but still, moreover, he gives knowledge, lot of knowledge what he will require for later in his life. So he gets two benefits, like his because he was obedient to his father, he listened to his father and he agreed what his father said and he followed his father's instructions. He got more property than his father could have given him ever. So that one, and he got a lot of knowledge also from Lord Shiva. So that was how great Nabaga was, and he became a king. And then he used to give a lot of land in charity to the Brahmanas when he was a king. And then Bhumi Devi herself came to Nabaga and requested him not to separate her from him, because she was happy. Bhumi Devi was happy when Nabaga was ruling the kingdom. And she requested him, please don't give me away and everything. So she was very happy with Nabaga's ruling. So that kind of a great father, Nabaga, he had a son, Ambarish. That is Maharaj Ambarish. That is how a great father has a great son. So this is how Sukdev Goswami Sukdev Goswami gives this verse. He says, from Nabaga, Maharaj Ambarish took birth. Maharaj Ambarish was an exalted devotee, celebrated for his great merits. Although he was cursed by an infallible Brahmana, the curse could not touch him. This is how he gives the introduction of Maharaj Ambarish. Then Parikshit Maharaj, who was listening to the story, he was very curious to listen, because Parikshit Maharaj was also cursed by a Brahmana. Maharaj Ambarish was also cursed by a Brahmana. But Maharaj Ambarish was not, he could not be touched by the infallible curse of the Brahmana. So he was more inquisitive to know what happened further. Who is this Maharaj Ambarish? So after that, Parikshit Maharaj tells the story and he says further the glories of Maharaj Ambarish. So Maharaj Ambarish was a great king, and he performed all the prescribed duties as a king under the able guidance of a qualified Brahmanas. He used to do all the great sacrifices like Ashwamedha Yajna and everything, where because of those sacrificial yajnas he used to perform, the desert-like places or desert-like countries in his kingdom had rivers flowing, like Saraswati river was flowing in the desert countries. So that's how great Maharaj Ambarish was. And his citizens, they derived heavenly planets. They didn't want to go to heavenly planets or didn't want to enjoy the opulences in the heavenly planets, because Maharaj Ambarish was taking care of them so nicely, and he was completely and constantly engaging them in hearing and chanting of the glories of the Supreme Lord. That is how great Maharaj Ambarish was. And then today's verse. Maharaj Ambarish is an example for all the 9 processes of devotional service. So can anybody say the 9 processes of devotional service with examples?
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanavandanam, Dasam Saksam, Atmanivedanam. Shravanam is Parikshit Maharaj, Kirtanam Shukdev Goswami, Vishnu Prahlad Maharaj, Padasevanam Lakshmi Devi, Dasyam Hanuman, Saksham Arjun, Atmanivedan Das Maharaj. I think I missed.
Maharaj. Yes, Mataji. Then thank you. And all these 9 process of devotional service, we can see that Ambarish Maharaj did all the 9 process of devotional service. So Maharaj Ambarish, he offered all his senses, all his inclinations, his mind and everything. He engaged all his faculties in Krishna's association 24 hours a day. That's what this verse is talking about. This is one of the most important verses to know for a devotee, because we want to understand these qualities of Maharaj Ambarish so that we can, incorporate into our life and learn how to be Krishna conscious all the time. And after learning this verse, we will not have an excuse forever to be in Maya. So if you don't know something, we can say that I don't know, and we can give an excuse that we don't know something. But when you know this verse, you don't have an excuse. So, but this verse or the sloka, it reveals the innermost secret by which it is revealed how at every single moment one can be in Krishna conscious. And through the process, we become more and more and more attached to Krishna. So as once you become attached to Krishna, simultaneously, inevitably, and naturally, we become more and more detached from material enjoyment. So Srila Yamunacharya, who is a very prominent Acharya in Sri Sampradaya, he is also a king. Okay, he says in his prayers that anybody who is like in this material world, they think that sense gratification is the ultimate culmination of the pleasure. That's what they think. But Yamunacharya is saying that, I will read exactly what he says. My dear Lord, Sri Narayana, since I have tasted the wonderful sweetness that is derived from serving your lotus feet, that flavor is so extraordinarily wonderful and sweet that when I even think of the highest pleasure of this material world, that sense enjoyment, I spit at its thought and my lips curl in distaste. That's what we talked about, like when we 24/7, when we are when we engage our senses in Krishna consciousness, all the material enjoyment seems distasteful. That's how Ambarish Maharaj did everything. And this is natural quality. It's a natural quality for one who is attracted to Krishna, that he doesn't like anything, like the higher taste. When you have higher taste, then you don't want to go back down to see some gulab jamun or rasgulla when you have the higher taste of worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. And Rupa Goswami also, he warns us. He warns, if you want to maintain your attachments to family, wealth, home, prestige of this world, please, I warn you, do not go to the banks of Yamuna at Keshi Ghat, because There you will find the supreme beauty of Govinda, who is standing in threefold bending form with his lips, which are reflecting the full moonlight of Vrindavana playing up on his celebrated flute. Because once you see this form, you will never want to go back to your family or this material aspirations, which the common man has. So Maharaj Ambarish is teaching us how, you can always see Krishna, everything, whatever you do, how you can see Krishna in everything. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says that do not try to see Krishna. Okay, try to serve Krishna in such a way that he wants to see you. And this is the perfect example of Maharaj Ambarish, that by serving Krishna, he wants to see us, and thus he reveals himself. And that is the way, that is the only way or the only process by which Krishna can be understood as is. In the purport, we read the same thing, right? Like we want him to see us with our service and reveal himself. Either Krishna can reveal himself, or your spiritual master or a senior devotee can reveal Krishna. Otherwise, you can't understand him. So now let's see the lessons we can learn. So importance of engaging senses in service to the God, we already saw that. And the proper engagement of mind. So let's see how we can engage our mind properly. So everybody has this mind, and the mind keeps going here and there, everywhere and beyond everywhere. It keeps going everywhere. And then Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says that he asks Krishna, or he tells Krishna that Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadradam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo revasu duskaram. This mind is not controllable. Even I can control the wind, but I can't control my mind. So Ambarish Maharaj is explaining by his example that he always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. So we should try to incorporate this into our lives, like meditating 24/7 on the lotus feet of the Lord. And we have a propensity to speak. How many times does uncontrollably we speak nonsense, and then we get into trouble, and we create a lot of anxiety and offend other people, and what to speak more than anything else that affects our consciousness. So it's better. So it's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he says that nonsense talk breeds nonsense. Nonsense talk breeds nonsense thought, which breeds the reputation of birth, death, old age, and disease. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Jive fele vishaya sagare. So that the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable of the senses. And by simply controlling the tongue, even this Rupa Goswami also says the same thing. Vacho vegam, manasaha krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udaropastha vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira, sarvam apimam prithivim shishusha. That means once you control your tongue, belly, and genital, everything is in one line. So when you control your tongue, you can control the rest of the other organs. So the body is like a boat. So when your body is like a boat, the boat has a rudder underneath. It's kind of a small part which is helping the boat to move in the direction it's required to. So our tongue is like that rudder. So once we control the tongue, then we can control our, if we control our tongue and direct it in towards Krishna, then we can control everything in our life. It will be controlled. Our life will be controlled and disciplined. Next, we can see that how sense control Maharaj Ambarish is teaching us. So Maharaj Ambarish is giving us by his example that by his example, he's saying that his words are describing the glories of the Lord, and his indriyas, or the senses, they are serving the Lord. Like his hands, we have hands, we keep doing so many things with the hands. We just can't stay still Like even if you're sitting down, you will just pick up a pencil or a pen and you'll keep rotating in your fingers. And in our school days, we used to always do something like this. I still don't know how you used to do this pencil thing. We keep twisting the pencil in between the fingers. So like that, we have the habit of engaging the senses or the hand or ears. We want to hear a lot of good music and everything. But then Amrish Maharaj, what he did is he kept constantly cleaning the temple with his hands, and he used his ears to hear the Krishna Katha. Right? He used his ears to hear Krishna Katha or the glories of Lord Krishna or the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And he used his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, how wonderfully he was decorated, how wonderfully he was, how wonderful the Krishna's temples are, or the places like Mathura and Vrindavan where Krishna was born and he performed all his pastimes and everything. So that's how when you engage your indriyas or your senses in the service of Krishna, then our senses will be controlled. Because our senses, if they are there is a saying that ideal man's mind is a devil's workshop. So we should always try to engage it in the right direction in Krishna consciousness. The right direction is Krishna consciousness. So therefore, Amrish Maharaj is teaching us to see beautiful things with our eyes and behold the form of Lord, who is decorated in opulence and in beautiful garlands, in beautiful ornaments and beautiful paintings on his face, and go to the temples, see the temples and visit the holy dham like Mathura and Vrindavan. And then he engaged his senses of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord and like doing service to the devotees, right? That means when you are developing more and more intimate loving relationship to the devotees of the Lord and serving them, then you engage your sense of touch also. Like when you do service to the devotees of the Lord, like pure devotees of the Lord, you can serve your Guru Maharaj, you can serve a senior Vaishnava or anything. That is the right way to, keep that senses in proper direction. And then he used to use the sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord. And he used to use his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasadam. And he used to engage his legs in walking to the holy places of the temples of the Lord. And he engaged his head in humbly bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. So in Nectar of Devotion, they say that we have to, the main important thing in the 64 rules we had, in that one of them is 24/7, you have to think about Krishna. Right? 24/7, you have to think about Krishna. 24 hours a day, you have to keep thinking about Krishna. And so Amrish Maharaj is giving the best example. And Amrish Maharaj never had any desire for any sense gratification. We already saw this, that in one of the verses in Nectar of Devotion, Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam Bhaktiruttama. So the best, when a devotee, when the pure devotional service of the Lord arises within the devotee, then three things will happen. He will get rid of Jnana Karma Dhanavritam. He will, his doubts, all the doubts will be clarified. Jnana Karma Dhanavritam. Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. He will do the favorable things towards Krishna. And he will get rid of material or sense enjoyment. He will not have any kind of desires to engage his senses into. So in this way, we can increase our attachment to the Lord by completely getting free or getting rid of the material desires. In Nectar Devotion, again, there is another verse. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So, when you use all your senses and and when you serve the Rishikena Rishikesha, the one who is the controller of the senses is Rishikesha. When you perform service to to the Lord, then Sarvapadi Vinurmuktam. That's what you will get rid of all the material desires. That's what it says. So the same mind, the same senses that we have right now, that are time and time again dragging us towards the temptations and allurements and attraction. We are getting attracted and then we're getting averted. So attraction and aversion, attraction and aversion. They're just keeping us in this kind of waves of Maya. They are keeping us in the waves of Maya of sense gratification. But those same senses which are causing bondage and suffering, when we engage them in the service of Rishikesha, just now we spoke about Rishikesha, when we keep them engaged in Rishikesha, the Lord of the senses, we become Nirmalam. That means purified. So once you are purified, when your sense become purified, there won't be any kind of selfishness, right? Purify all the propensities of material nature will be uprooted. And then completely purified state, only one desire means only one desire we will have, that is, my Lord, please, can I serve you? Because I love you. I want to serve you. So how can I be more and more attracted to Krishna? By serving unconditionally, uninterrupted, unmotivated service towards Krishna. Only then I will have more and more, attraction towards Krishna. So we have to try to achieve that, the uninterrupted, unmotivated service towards Krishna. The attraction or love for Krishna will arise when you do unconditional, unmotivated, unflinching devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada, he showed, by his great mercy, he showed us and he taught us practically that how we can do day-to-day, in our day-to-day life, how we can follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Ambarish. And we can use our senses and mind in the inclination and connection towards Krishna and in service of Krishna. And it is essential to take the shelter of a spiritual master, because a senior devotee or a spiritual master, only he can tell us what Krishna needs, because we don't know by ourselves what Krishna needs. So only when a spiritual master will tell us, then we will know. And only under his direction, anybody can know Krishna. That's what Prabhupada is writing in his purport. He's saying that taking a shelter of a spiritual master is very, very important, because without taking shelter of a spiritual master, we don't have that much of ability to understand Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita also, a lot of times Krishna tells that either Krishna has to reveal himself, or a spiritual master should reveal Krishna to us. He will show us the path in which we can reach Krishna. Otherwise, we don't have the ability to understand Krishna completely. So when a spiritual master comes into our life, we have to submissively ask your spiritual master to show the path to attain the mercy of Krishna. So yasya prasada bhagavat prasado yasya prasadam nakati kutopi. And the bona fide spiritual master, he does not cheat anybody. He doesn't cheat. So he will just tell you the path. Practically, he will teach us. And he will not give us theoretical conceptions or anything, but he will tell you the truth. And he will tell you how to practice it daily. In your daily life, how you can practice. And he will teach us how to serve Lord and how to purify our attachment to his lotus feet. we should learn from this pastime one more thing, that is we should guard against Vaishnava Aparad. So in this pastime, what happened is Durvasa Muni, he offended Ambarish Maharaj. When Ambarish Maharaj was he was performing the Ekadashi Vrata, he had to break his fast on Dwadasi, and there was only one Muhurta left. And Durvasa Muni comes into picture out of nowhere, and he, but still Maharaj Ambarish respectfully invites him, and he offers him prasadam. Then Durvasa Muni goes for his daily ritualistic prayer offerings, that's like Sandhya Vandanam or something. And then before Durvasa Muni comes, Ambarish Maharaj has to break his fast. So he, with the consultation of the Brahmanas, he breaks his fast by drinking a sip of water. Taking a sip of water doesn't mean that he broke the fast or he ate something. So it doesn't be disrespectful to Durvasa Muni, as well as Ambarish Maharaj will break his fast. So with the guidance of the Brahmanas, Ambarish Maharaj drinks a sip of water, and then Durvasa Muni will understand that because of his mystic yogic potency, he will understand that Maharaj Ambarish has disrespected him. He thinks that he disrespected him. And then he will, Durvasa Muni will come and he will take one, pull out one hair follicle, and he will create one demon to kill Maharaj Ambarish, which is Vaishnava Aparad. Where Ambarish Maharaj never did any offense to Durvasa Muni, but still Durvasa Muni felt that Ambarish Maharaj has offended him, and he will release that demon to kill Maharaj Ambarish. Then Sudarshan Chakra will appear. Here there is a very nice verse in the same chapter, that is Sadhavo Hridayam Mahyam Sadhunam Hridayam Tvaham Madanyate Tatena Janati Naham Tebhyo Manag Api. So the translation is, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know me, and I do anything else but them. So Durvasa Muni, when he wanted to chastise Ambarish Maharaj, he did not, he didn't think that he was giving pain to the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Sadhavo Hridayam Mahyam. So Sadhavo Hridayam Mahyam, because the pure devotees are within the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and the Lord's feelings are like those of a father who feels pain when his child is in pain. That's what Prabhupada gives in his translation. He writes very nicely. And therefore, the offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee are very serious. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very strongly recommended that one should not commit any offense at the lotus feet of a devotee. And if one commits such an offense, it is called a mad elephant offense. And the mad elephant offense, what is that? It is like a mad elephant has entered into a garden, and it has caused a devastation or a destruction of the entire garden. That is how, even if we have a small Bhaktilata beach, then if you do any Vaishnava Aparad, then it will destroy the Bhaktilata beach. So we should be very, very extremely careful not to commit any offenses at the lotus feet of a pure devotees. So because Ambarish Maharaj was not at any fault, Durvasa Muni unnecessarily wanted to chastise him on a filmy grounds. Maharaj Ambarish wanted to complete the Ekadashi Paran, and as a part of devotional service, he just drank a little sip of water, and because of that, Durvasa Muni was angry, and he didn't know, like, though he was a scholar, Vedic scholar, he didn't know what he was doing. And one of the best qualities of the Vaishnavas is they simply forgive. And they're very simple, and they're humble, and they forgive. So Ambarish Maharaj spared the life of Durvasa Muni. He requested Sudarshan Chakra, which came, it killed the demon, and then it went it went in pursuance of Durvasa Muni, When Durvasa Muni went to Brahmaloka, he asked Lord Brahma to protect him. Then Lord Brahma said, I can't do it. And he went to Lord Shiva. Durvasa Muni went to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva also gave up. He said, I can't do it. You have to go to Lord Vishnu. And when Durvasa Muni went to the spiritual world and went to Lord Vishnu said, I also can't help it. Only the one whom you offended, you have to go and take shelter of that pure devotee. And then Durvasa Muni went, and we can see in the picture that he's paying obeisances to Ambarish Maharaj for the fault he has done. He has offended Maharaj Ambarish, and then Maharaj Ambarish will pray. In the next chapter, there are prayers by Ambarish Maharaj. How nicely he prays to Sudarshan Chakra, and he spares the life of Durvasa Muni. That's how great Vaishnava qualities is forgiving, and they're simple and humble. They don't want to be like, I'm the devotee of the Lord, so if I want to kill you, if he wants to kill him, he could have killed him, but then he's not offended, and he forgave Durvasa Muni. That's what we can learn from the teachings of, from the life story of Ambarish Maharaj. Thank you so much. That's all I have for today. If you have any corrections, questions, or realizations, please share.
That was very nice. Thank you. I was wondering if you could repeat what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said about nonsense thought,
Right.
nonsense
Nonsense talks.
talks. Okay.
Nonsense talks breeds nonsense thoughts.
And then there was more.
Yeah, and then those will in return breed birth, death, old age, and disease.
Oh, okay. That was it. Very nice. These little phrases are good, a little easier to remember, the philosophy is really, really nice. Thank you.
I know dear, we could have listened a lot more of this. Can we speak for another hour?
Yes, Madhuri. We can. There's a lot you can talk about, but I just. Okay, so if anybody doesn't have anything, we can offer.
You should continue the next part in the next next Saturday.
I will try my best, Madhuri.
So we can perfect our life just by following one of the processes of devotional service, but by doing more, you get more benefit. Is that correct?
Yes, Madhuri. When you yes, Madhuri, that is right. As much as possible, if we keep engaging ourselves 24/7 about in Krishna's service, or meditating upon Lord's pastimes or on his lotus feet, we will be that closer to Krishna. So it will be our ultimate goal of our life.
So if the cup is full, there's no room for mind.
Yeah, that's what empty man's mind is. Ideal man's mind is devil's workshop.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, thank you so much. Let's offer the Vaishnava pranams. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nantakoti Vaishnavin ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Looks like the weather might not be so great Monday.
Yes, Mataji, that's what we are thinking.
I know that all 3 days it's supposed to be pretty bad, huh?
The whole long weekend is lost.
A lot of karmis are very upset too.